Shamaya, you did it.
STL Music.
Is that welcome back to the show. So listen up, we back in the game. Sweep the league, we got the flame. Motivated to the fullest every single day. We wake up, get it in every way. Working the two in the global inspiration. Talk this sports and top news, no hesitation. Sweep the league is back. We always coming back, that's a fact. Wanna tell them that STL Music, mama, we did it, where we at? Coach Jill in the house with the flow so tight. Every girl, rubber rock stats, we unite. Yeah, the best show, Monday through Friday. If this ain't different, they lying. We got the energy. When I say sweep, you say the league. Sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go.
Hey, it's Rain Fernandez, and you're watching Sweep the League. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and Facebook at Rain Fernandez, RAYNE Fernandez.
Hi, it's Sherilyn, and you're watching Sweep the League TV. Follow me on Instagram at official Sherilyn for more content.
2, 1.
Well, as you guys can tell, Derek Irvin doesn't miss anything. If you don't want to miss anything as well, go to YouTube. Search at Sweep the League TV. Be a subscriber today. We're giving away a bunch of prizes and stuff. Be a subscriber today so you don't miss, just like Derek never misses. Subscribe to Sweep the League.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League Radio.
Sweep the league TV where legends collide. If the Cowboys fall short, we'll still ride the tide. Like Jordan in the clutch or Brady's last play. We bring the fire, keeping fans in the fray. Coach Gio and Marie calling the shots. With Derek Irvin straight Hall of Fame thoughts. So hit that subscribe, don't sit on the bench. Get in the game, every highlight's intense. The live stream's on till your friends don't delay. Like Kobe in the fourth, we're here to play. Sweep the League TV, where greatness resides. From the blogs at the drive, till the odds on the rise. We're all in on sports, NBA, CFP, and more for fans. By fans, it's the show you'll adore.
It is a Thursday night edition of Sweep the League. Rudy Campos Jr. going to be joined by Hall of Famer Derek Irvin. Happy New Year, guys. Wishing everybody a very, very happy New Year's from everybody here at Sweep the League to you out there. Hope 2025 is going to be the year for all you guys. I can tell you right now, behind the scenes stuff, if things work out very well, you're going to be seeing a lot more of Sweep the League. And that'll be around the city. You're going to have more opportunities to listen to Sweep the League, not just our podcast at 9 o'clock. There's other stuff going on. You may be able to catch us at more times than just 9 o'clock. So just be patient with us and be prepared for hopefully the good news comes down for us in 2025. All you got to do to make sure you get notified, go to YouTube, be a subscriber, search Sweep the League TV. Hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button. You're going to get the info as soon as we get it, man. So 2025 is looking up. What are we talking about tonight? So, I mean, we're not going to waste a whole show talking about the San Antonio Spurs, the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, we talk about everything here. We talk about every sport here. We get into everything that we can. So we're not going to waste a lot of time on that. Hey, Spurs are doing good. They're doing fantastic. They're, playing bound right now. Cowboys are basically on vacation. The only real Texas team right now I'd really watch for is the Texas Longhorns, which that's going to be our first subject, is the Texas Longhorns and Arizona State game. We're going to get into Saquon Barkley. Should he have broken the record? Should he have played to break the record? We're going to get into that. Also, Jaden Ivey, the injury, Cole Anthony bumping into Jaden Ivey. That's a horrible, horrible thing to happen. Jaden Ivey did come out and say, hey, it's a basketball move. He totally understands. It happens. Nothing against Cole Anthony. But again, that hurts the Pistons, who I'm going to remind Derek that I was telling him that they're going to be a good team this year. So I'm hoping to give him his Detroit love. And then we're going to end the night with some point guard talk. Steph Curry, considered one of the best point guards of all time. Stop it. Stop the nonsense. He's not a point guard. He's a shooting guard. We're going to clarify all that stuff here and a lot more on Sweep the League. Let's bring on the Hall of Famer himself, Derek Gervin. Mr. Gervin, it's a new year, and it's going to be a great year for Sweep the League from what I'm understanding.
I'm sporting your colors, man.
Yeah, North Carolina. Too bad their basketball team is terrible this year.
That's all right. They'll regroup eventually. You know that.
Yeah, they will regroup. How's the new year going for you already, man? 2 days in.
Good, Rudy. And I want to wish everybody else a happy new year as well. It's a day late, but hey, better late than never. So happy new year to everybody.
Yeah, better late than never. On our first commercial break, man, we're going to give everybody a sneak preview. Now, it released on midnight, January 1st. As soon as the clock hit 12, not only did you hear fireworks, but STL Music released another Wemby song. Another album's coming out from STL Music called Wemby the Future. We're going to give everybody a little taste of that. If you haven't heard it yet, that'll be on our first commercial break. So, nonetheless, man, we got a lot to get into. College football playoffs, Derek. I mean, let's not waste any time. I went 1 for 4, basically. 1-3 was my record in this college football playoffs. I had Boise State because I love the upset. That didn't happen. I took Texas, which almost broke my heart. Blame it pretty much on Sark for all those issues. I took Oregon, who just decided to not show up. And you did say a lot of times, there's a game going to be where Oregon does not play well. Hopefully it doesn't happen in the CFP, happen against Ohio State. And then, of course, earlier today, you saw Georgia lose to Notre Dame. And before we go any further, definitely prayers are out for everything that happened in New Orleans on Bourbon Street from us here at Sweep the League. Just a terrible, terrible thing. Also, you had the incident in Las Vegas. Just be safe out there, people. Just be safe, be alert, be aware of everything, know your surroundings. But again, big time prayers for everybody out there. But, Derek, as far as the CFP's going, I think I'm pretty shocked that Oregon looked bad. Knowing that Carson Beck didn't play, it doesn't surprise me that Notre Dame won. Texas had their pedal on the metal for 66 seconds, the very first 66 seconds of the game. And then Boise State, they got off to a little bit at the end. Genty was playing a little bit better as the game went on, but just overpowered by Penn State, man. Your preview and your thoughts on the overall CFP before we get into targeting.
I thought it was good. A lot of people have been complaining now about they didn't like the seedings. And, we had Oregon number 1, I believe, number 2, Georgia, 3, Boise State, and then 4, Arizona State. And then you go from there. I believe Texas 5, then Penn State, and then Notre Dame and Ohio State, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
In that order, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so it'd be Texas and Texas, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Penn State. That'll be the bracket.
No, I think they had Ohio State 8th.
Ranking wise,
they had Penn State 6, and then they had Ohio State 8. But I thought overall, Rudy, it was good. We found out that Mr. Genty, I figured they were going to load the box up on him and kind of try to limit what he's did. And we saw that happen. And, of course, Texas, we'll get into it. That ended up being a barn burner. Looked like it was going to be over in the first half. And the other team continued to grind. Mr. Scatterboo and those guys continued to play well. And so overall, I think it was great. We know there's always going to be some concerns. Someone's going to complain about this could have been done better. The seeding has to change. Certain teams didn't belong in. Alabama belonged in. Ole Miss might have belonged in. South Carolina might have belonged in. We're going to hear that every year. But overall, I thought all the teams had a pretty good account of themselves, and I'm proud to see how it went.
Yeah, so far so good. Now, before I go on, the little bit of preview that I've got, a little bit of reaction I've got, I got to make it very clear. I'm really tired of all the BS and all the people crying about the CFP and everything. You know what? It's the very first year. You and I knew the rules before the season started. We knew that 5 conference champions were going to get in. There was going to be some at-large bids, and then you had people complaining, well, Arizona State got to buy. Boise State got to buy. That needs to change. No, you knew the rules before and ahead of time. So why are you going to complain when these teams earned their right to get a buy? They played, they won the games, they followed the rules, and then they get bombarded with people saying they didn't deserve it. This is the reason why they don't deserve it. BS. They played the same style, the same game that everybody else played. They just came out on top. So everybody complaining about teams not in, and don't get me started on Alabama. Alabama
Rudy,
proved why they shouldn't be in there.
But notice they didn't complain about Oregon or Georgia.
Exactly.
They complained about Boise State and Arizona State. And if you look at it, how can you tell me Arizona? First of all, Boise State earned their ticket there. You had a guy that was second in the Heisman, could have easily been first.
Should have been.
And then you got Arizona State, who's played well, or one of the hottest teams going down the stretch. And if you see, they had a good account of themselves against Texas. So, a lot of people talk, they only want certain teams in there. And I disagree with that. Like everything has to be SEC or Big Ten. I don't believe in that. And I believe what makes it so interesting is having teams from these other conferences, teams that you didn't get to watch a lot during the season. You had like Mr. Scatterboo. Now you got a guy who everyone in the country knows who he is. I'm sure you saw Arch Manning go over there and give him his respect after the game.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah, so those guys deserve to be there, man. It can't just be the teams you watch all year, the Kirby Smarts and those type of teams. It can't be the same Alabama every year. Give these guys a chance. And I thought they put up a really good account for themselves.
They did a really good job. And shout out to Boise. Shout out to Arizona State. Shout out to everybody that made the top 12, for the CFP, man. So far, I get it. People are, SMU and Indiana. Who cares about that? They all deserve to be there. They got there. Just enjoy the ride right now. You got the last 4 teams. Are they the 4 top teams? I would say they're 4 of the absolute best teams in college football. I didn't believe much in Notre Dame. I personally didn't believe much in Penn State, but Derek, it's kind of funny. You, myself, Gio, all 3 of us at the beginning of the season, before kickoff, before the season was even thought of, we had 3 names on the hot seat. We had Sarkisian, we had Day, and we had Franklin. All 3 guys, we said they're on the hot seat. They can't win the big one. Look what he's doing. Sark can't win the big one either. He buckles. He almost lost it to ASU, but he passed it. He got in there. And then Franklin. Franklin always has the talented team, but he can't get any further than, a certain bowl game or whatever. It's crazy how all 3 guys have pretty much solidified their coaching resume for next year, their coaching spot for next year. It's crazy.
If you look at it, and I wrote a post on Facebook about an hour ago, and as the season went on, I kept telling you and Gio, though I believed in Penn State and Notre Dame, this is the first time that I've picked both of them to win this many weeks in a row since I can remember, since maybe I was in my 40s, man, that I actually picked Penn State to win again and Notre Dame to win again on the same day. So I got to give those coaches credit. Coach Franklin was, as we know, on the hot seat. I believe he secured his job. We know with Notre Dame every year, and I got to give Notre Dame a shout out, man. I think this year, this is one of the best teams they've had. It almost takes me back to the Raheem Ismail?
Oh, yeah, Rocket Ismail.
Back to the Rocket days.
Yeah.
So to see Notre Dame perform like they did, and then, I hate to give it up to Ohio State. I have to give Michigan some credit because I think my Wolverines winning the title last year and then beating Ohio State on the last game of this year, I
Well,
think that
this year.
kind of lit a fire under the Buckeye Nation. And if you look at it, they have more than secured Ryan Day's job. Hell, they might have to end up giving the man a raise if they win this championship. Right now, they look like the best team.
Yeah, they do. They really do. And out of the 4 teams, I picked Texas, and you picked Texas to win national championship. They're still in, but this Ohio State game, I still feel 100%, Derek, that the national title winner is going to be either Texas or Ohio State. I think it's one of those 2 teams. No disrespect to Penn State. I've been disrespecting Penn State all year. No disrespect to Notre Dame. They've looked fantastic, but I think the 2 best teams, Texas being the most talented team on both sides of the ball, I think they would either win it, or Ohio State, who has so happened to get extremely hot at the right time. And that's so very important. Talking to Derek Irvin, Hall of Famer, UTSA Hall of Famer, Rudy Campos. Be sure to go to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV, be a subscriber. That way you can talk to us about CFP and everything else that's coming up here. We're going to get our CFP picks probably next week is where we're going to do our final 4 picks for CFP. But one thing on the controversy side. So we're going to talk targeting because the Arizona State Texas game didn't go through, even though it was probably the best game of the 4. It didn't come through without any controversy.
It ended up the best of the 4.
Yeah, it was the best of the 4.
First, yeah.
You're talking about controversy on both sides of the ball. I felt that, there was targeting on both sides. We've actually got a clip for both of them here. But before we get to the clips, Dan, I can't remember the guy's name, the coach for ASU, basically made.
Oh, for Arizona State, yeah.
For ASU, for Arizona State. He came out in a press conference, was talking about it. Let's listen to him here real quick.
There's a lot of things that I got to do better to help our guys to win football game. That's one of the many things. As I reflect, I got to be better because our guys played good enough to win. Our guys battled good enough to win. And, this game's 100% on me. And in terms of the targeting, I want to be honest, I don't know what targeting is. We lost one of our best players in the first half for targeting. And I just don't know. I just don't know what it is. So I don't want to comment on something that I have to get a better grasp of what it is, just because it's so, I just don't quite understand it. I do just want to protect the players, though. So whatever rules are put in place to protect the players, I'm all about.
Yeah, so the targeting rules, again, it's so tough to call. But before we go into it, this is the Arizona State hit on the Longhorn. And right after that, I'm going to play the Longhorn hit on an Arizona State player. So here we go, the first ASU thing.
Every bit of it, and it's intercepted. That's not bad. I'm really about to drill, about to lash. I get on that. You say he gon' kill me to that bitch.
So both hits. Now, if you go through targeting, it's making contact helmet to helmet. It's leading with the crown of the helmet. You go all the way down to defenseless receiver. Both calls could have been targeting. Now, when the Arizona State University kid hit, I believe it was Bond, if I'm not mistaken. It was with the shoulder, but again, you can point the finger to a defenseless receiver. They did get the interception, but he made contact, and that was a defenseless receiver. It was pretty much close. It was basically to the head, so that could have been targeting. I'm okay with him not calling it. Now, when the opposite happened, I look at that. When the Longhorn player made contact with Arizona State player, it was helmet to helmet, but it was everything else fell in line to being a football play. He didn't launch himself. There was no using of the crown of the helmet. There was no malicious intent to hurt the player. He wrapped him up, and it just so happened that they made contact helmet to helmet. The targeting rule is so, man, it's such like a thin paper that you can go either way. Would I have been mad if targeting was called on both sides of the ball for that? No, I wouldn't have been mad at all because it's kind of a bang bang play. But replay shows that pretty much both of those plays don't meet the requirements of targeting. But for you, how do you feel on this? Because for me personally, I'm glad they didn't make the call. Those were two big calls made, and I'm glad they didn't make the call.
Well, for me on that last one with a minute 15 left, if you go by the rule and actually read the rule is not talking about helmet. The crown of the helmet. It's saying the head-to-head contact, helmet to helmet. And if you go by the rule of law, if you actually read the book and go by it, it was targeting. So I can't see it any other way, man. I mean, it's the only reason I'm gonna be honest about it. The reason I don't think if this was reversed, and that's Texas not delivering the blow, I believe they make the call. But since it's Arizona State, and we got to be honest, really, who do they really want to see in the Final Four? The Texas or Arizona State?
Texas sells tickets, Ben.
So Texas sells the tickets. I hate to see the game like that, but the reason I'm not going to make a big deal about the helmet to helmet is because Arizona State had other chances. And then you got them on a 4th and 13, I believe. And you cannot let the guy get behind you. And what happens? Quinn McEwers goes back in the pocket. Nobody's back there defensively. Yeah. You give up a touchdown on 4th and 13. So I also have to factor that in. I'm not going to use the helmet to helmet as an excuse. Arizona State had opportunities, missed field goal. Then Texas missed the field goal. Arizona State had another chance. They didn't capitalize in the crucial moments, and they paid for it. So I'm not going to even blame the referees for not making the helmet to helmet. They still had chances to win the game.
They did. They really did. And, again, I'm okay with them not making that call on both sides of the ball. I'm okay with it. I understand the targeting. I understand it was making contact helmet to helmet. I totally get that. Even, with the ASU player getting on the ball.
I'm not to cut you off, but it was a football play. There was no bad ill on him. No, it was not intentional at all. The young man was not trying to hurt the guy and go. He was just making a football play, and they end up bumping helmet to helmet. So I'm sure after the refs discussed it, they probably felt exactly like you and myself. A lot of people, they didn't want to decide the game like that, and I can understand it because if we talk about it, some people are going to say it was a penalty. Others are going to say it's not. So when it's that close, hey, they made the call that they thought was right, and I can't argue that.
Yeah, and I think even replay gets involved in that. So if the replay center feels that it's not, it's so difficult because if you go to targeting, then the chances of you losing a player are damn near 100% because you get thrown out of the game. And in a crucial game like this, you don't want to see players get thrown out of a game, for a call that can go either way. And I think the targeting rule is fine. I get player safety, man. You've got to protect the players. But I think if there's targeting, one thing I would change is don't throw the player out of the game. Don't. Unless it's malicious.
He said no. I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying, but I'm glad to tell you. Do you know why the Arizona State fans were really mad if you really look at that video?
What's that?
What happened after the hit?
You gotta remind me, man.
The player was laid out on the ground.
Yes. Okay. Yes, he was.
So, just a lot of people, even if it's not targeting,
concussion.
If it's even a question, the fact that he was laid out like that, what are the Arizona State people going to say? 100% of them that it was
targeting. Yeah.
So sometimes things might look a little. You really look at it and you be like, man, especially if you're for that team, there's no question that was 100% targeting. I thought it was targeting, but it was still a gray area there. So the refs made a call, and I can't really argue it.
Yeah, it's tough to argue it. It was a bang bang play, and it could have gone either way. Luckily for everybody, that they didn't throw the flag. They agreed that it wasn't targeting, Texas came out on top 39-31. Last part of the game, man. This was a pretty cool video when I saw this right here.
Cam, there were reports that
Well,
you
good
were
thing they kept
ill on
our
the
picks.
sideline during the game. Could you give us an idea of what you were going through and how much that had impacted you at all in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I threw up. I threw up. I drank too much water too fast, and I was kind of feeling sloshy, and then felt better after. So
You can rally.
you know, I was
26 years, we've never had a puke award. But no, this is in 26 years, we've never had to be able to do this. And with about 7 minutes left, the media voted Scat as the MVP. And so the offensive MVP of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Scat, congratulations.
Yeah, so a very Jerry West moment there, as Cam Scatterbu on a losing ASU squad becomes the MVP of the game. And there's no doubt about it. The kid played with every ounce of his heart in that game. I think for a while there, he actually had more total yards than the Longhorns offense.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't give the MVP award to anybody else. But
when you talk, you better back it up. And he did some talking during the week.
Mm-hmm.
He said there was no one that could stop him. And if you remember, he started off kind of sluggish in the first half. They were loading the box up on him. But I got Rudy, the young man, this is what it's about. He raised his draft stock.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, what did he do? He passed for a touchdown. He
ran for 2.
He ran for 2 touchdowns. So he pretty much was almost a one-man team. If you look at it, he kind of reminded me a little bit of Saquon with some of the things he was doing. And for him, I can't even argue him getting the player of the game, man. The guy played, what did he end up with, like 280-some yards total?
I think it was total, yeah, right around there.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, without him, you take him off that team, they get blown off the field. So I have to give him credit. I know he got upset at one point on the sidelines. He was upset with the blockers in the first half, but he continued to grind, and I was glad to see him make a name for himself. It was a coming out party.
Definitely. We had actually an NFL scout come out here recently today and basically, I mean, kind of, saying what a lot of people have been saying, not sure where he goes in the NFL, but the dude's going to be a beast basically in the NFL. He's got a skill that translates to the pro level. He's hard to bring down. He's a very hard person to bring down. That is pure will. That is pure heart.
Is he even taller? Is he even taller than what's the kid at the Cowboys? Is it Vaughn?
Oh, Deuce Vaughn. Is it Deuce Vaughn? Yeah.
He's not much taller than him. And the reason I say that is because I watched after the game when they all went and hugged him. And you see these big old lumberjack, 300-pound guys from the Longhorns. And then when Arch Manning walked over there, I know Arch is about 6'4" or whatever.
Yeah.
Arch looked like Wembanyama standing next to that guy, man. So, sometimes big things come in small packages. And the guy, when I saw his size, man, it didn't look like that during the game. He's a really short guy, but, man, is that guy tough. And he put it all on the line. So I got to give him a shout out. He put it all on the line, 100%.
Yeah, going into the draft, I actually have him at a 3rd-round grade, but I think you can maybe put him as high as a 2nd-round grade. I really feel, and I'm not going to back down from it, I really feel that this is a guy that the Cowboys need to have circled on their list right now. If you can get him in the 3rd round, that is 100% perfect move for the Cowboys. I understand Genty. Amari Hampton from the North Carolina Tar Heels is another great one. But Scatterbu is probably the one back that I can definitely see. Now, doesn't have to be a Mike McCarthy system. What he brings, Derek, is he brings that ground and pound type of running back that you kind of need. And the Cowboys, I think he fits well with Dallas right there. Rico Dowdle is a pretty good change of pace back. Gives him, a little bit of power in the backfield with Scatterbu as a Cowboy. I could also see him with the Chargers possibly. I know for a fact Harbaugh and Justin Herbert will do wonders with him there. So there's a lot of other teams that I think he can go with. But I like him as a Cowboy right now. Hopefully Jerry Jones is listening and maybe they'll circle him and maybe draft him.
He's not as quick as a Pollard, but
no.
he's tougher. If not, he's just as tough or tougher. And that's what they need as a guy who's going to, when he takes that first hit, he's going to continue to fight and he's going to end up picking an extra 2 or 3 yards. And we know they call that yaks.
Yeah.
So a guy that can give you yaks is always an important player. And that's why I think he's going to have a pretty decent career.
Yeah. And it's funny because I got asked, for a comparison, and it's hard for me to compare because he's built and he's bulky and he's tough to get to tackle, similar to what Jerome Bettis was, but he's very quick. He's quicker than Jerome Bettis. Outside of that, I mean, when you say tough to tackle, who are we talking about who was tough to tackle? I mentioned Jerome Bettis, Jim Brown.
Earl Campbell.
You know what?
Christian Okoye.
Okoye is a good one. Earl Campbell might be I think I could put the ceiling at about Okoye and Campbell.
Marshawn Lynch.
Oh, I don't know. Lynch is. I think
I'm just saying about toughness.
Toughness wise?
But I would compare more like an Earl Campbell, Christian Okoye, those kind of guys.
Yeah, I would definitely see that. I mean, if we're going to be honest, and I throw a real name out there, New York Giant fans, remember Brandon Jacobs out of Wisconsin? I think that's kind of a good comparison. Very tough guy to take to the ground, but can also be quick.
How old are you?
I'm 45.
You remember the name John Riggins?
I do. Washington back in the
Redskins.
Yeah.
Another guy with deceiving speed.
Yeah. That's right.
Tough to get on the ground. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what this young man reminds me of. He'll be a nightmare for these big guys.
Because he can get low. He's got a low
big men don't like to. I was training the kid today and his little brother and sister. And I told them the little girl's only 8 years old. And I told her, big guys like us, we don't like guarding a person like Kyrie Irving or someone like that because we don't like bending down. And it's the same in football when you got to try to tackle that guy. And where you pretty much you got to try to grab him by either the shoulder area or the legs.
Yeah.
And by the time you try to do all that, he's gone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, I before we go to our next talk here, or maybe a commercial break, I got the perfect guy. And maybe you remember him, maybe you won't. They actually are the same height because I looked him up to make sure. Scottaboo's 5'11". This guy is 5'10". But do you remember a guy out of Wisconsin by the name of Ron Dane?
Ron Dane, Rudy, stop it.
Come on. I think that's the perfect comparison for Scottaboo for me.
I can't even let you get the whole name out. You don't know what, come on. Like, I don't know who Ron Dane is. Are you kidding? Yeah.
I like that comparison. Ron Dane. I mean,
that's a really good comparison.
I think I'm going to have to
especially for college. We're not even talking NFL. That's a really good comparison because that's what Ron Dane, that's basically how he made his name known with the Badgers, was his toughness. He wasn't a guy that had Barry Sanders' speed, but he was a guy that was just tough. And if he could get away from you, he was hard to catch.
Yeah.
So, Ron Dane that's a perfect one.
I'm going to stick with the Ron Dane then because, I really feel that's the comparison that I've got for him going on right now. Talking to Hall of Famer Derek and Rudy Campos Jr. Sweep the League comes to you Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Most of the time it's going to be Tuesday through Friday, but we will come to you at 9 p.m. here on Sweep the League. Be sure to go to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV. Be a subscriber. When we get back, it's Saquon Barkley talk. And also Jaden Ivey talk, some NBA talk, and then Steph Curry. Oh, he's the greatest point guard of all time, Derek. Oh, stop it. He's not even a point guard. We're going to get into all that here in just a little bit. Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Rudy Campos Jr.
Wimby breaks NBA record, man. He ain't done yet. This guy is from out of this world. He's got to be an alien. What is going on? Oh, my goodness. This guy is really going to be special. Ain't nothing to it. Wimby still lit. Wimby still lit. the stairs, real pain, no fear. We steady making it clear. I'm the captain, nice to meet you, but I make chess moves, no snooze. Bless you, we turning the impossible to possible. Doing what we do, call me Wemby, alien, flow too quick. You can't see me, just saying. The only thing that is your season, come see.
You are watching Sweep the League TV. Make sure you subscribe and catch our new videos.
Sweep the League TV with Rudy, Derek, and Coach Kia. Let's get back to the live show. You are watching the best in the business.
All right, welcome back to Sweep the League. Rudy Campos Jr., Hall of Famer Derek Irvin. That was Broken Soul. STL Music is coming out in 2025. A whole new album has been released.
Nice.
Also, the fact of Wemby the Future, that song is released right now. You can go catch them wherever you can get music. Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, anywhere music available. Can definitely get that music available here for you in just a second here. We're going to get into some Saquon talk here in just a little bit. Also some Jaden Ivey talk, as well as some Steph Curry talk. But before we do, I need to take a quick commercial break again. I apologize, you guys. I had something that just came up. Let me go take a look real quick. We'll be right back in 1 minute, guys. Are you looking for a contracting company that gets the job done right the first time? Look no further than MCS General Contracting. MCS specializes in top quality concrete work, including patios, driveways, foundations, and swimming pools. The team of experts are dedicated to delivering exceptional results and unparalleled customer satisfaction. At MCS General Contracting, they're not just hardworking, they're local. Based in San Antonio, they are committed to building relationships and trust within the community. That's why MCS guarantees your satisfaction. They pride themselves on getting the job done right the first time, every time. So why wait? Contract MCS General Contracting today to schedule your project and experience the difference for yourself. MCS General Contracting, building a better San Antonio, one project at a time. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League. All right, welcome back to Sweep the League. Apologize for that. I had something to take care of. It was kind of crazy right here. But no, everything's fine right now. So appreciate you guys on that commercial break. We're getting back here to some NFL talk. Jaden Ivey talk, Detroit Pistons, that injury right there, and also some Steph Curry talk as we're talking everything and anything NFL and NBA. So biggest news coming out this week. Now, they've got the power rankings, which normally we do on Wednesdays, Derek, but tomorrow we're going to do our power rankings for the NFL. The final power rankings for the season. PFT, Pro Football Talk, released them. We're going to do that tomorrow. But biggest news this week, you've got Saquon Barkley has the opportunity to break Eric Dickerson's record, which LaShawn McCoy came out and basically was like, you should break the record. You know, records are meant to be broken, yada, yada, yada. Eric Dickerson basically was like, well, he likes his record. He wants his record to stand. Like you said, if you want a record to be broken, that's because you don't have a record. Those are Eric Dickerson's words. He also understands that it took OJ, 14 games to hold the record, where it took Eric Dickerson an extra game. Sean McCoy is saying, hey, you know what? If it takes Saquon 17 games, who cares? It takes 17 games. But records are meant to be broken. So in all this record talk, man, we finally got a response from Saquon. Here's his response, and then we're going to get your reaction to it.
He asked me if I wanted to play, if I want to go for it. I said on Sunday, I probably didn't care too much for it. When I slept on it, I was like, there's an opportunity to implant my name in football history. May never get another opportunity like that again. So I'm down, but at the end of the day, like, I don't care for putting the team at risk. And he's the head coach for a reason. He makes those decisions, and whatever decision he wanted to make, I let him know, if you want me to play, I'm going to go out there and make sure I get it. And if we don't, I'm okay with that too. The most important thing is winning football games, and we're in the playoffs. So I got a bigger goal in mind anyway.
So I can't sit here and feel like it doesn't mean anything to Saquon. I can tell in his voice he wants to play. He wants to get the record. It may not be every season he has a chance to get this record. It could be the only opportunity he ever has. But on the other side of the spectrum, this could be maybe his only opportunity to get a Super Bowl win. So do personal records mean more than Super Bowl wins? No, obviously not. Shouldn't. I mean, the Super Bowl is the ultimate prize in the NFL. But, I mean, does it feel any type of heartfelt moment for him knowing that, you know, Sirianni's going to sit him and he has to agree with? Now, I use the word has to. He's not going to go against his coach. So he has to sit out. But deep down, you know, the kid really wanted to have that record.
Well, I know deep down his family wants him to have it. They're the ones that was in his ear the most, and he did bring up his family.
Yeah.
And I can understand it. I'm not going to say what reasons, maybe, I don't know if it's monetary, whatever it may be, but it is part of your legacy. And I can understand him wanting to get it, especially against the Giants. A lot of people think the Giants just kicked him aside. Now, I don't agree with that, because if you look at it last year, I think people forget the Giants weren't going anywhere. They were 6-11 with him.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to pay the big bucks, and I can understand that. So I can, you know, but then I understand him wanting to get the yardage. But here's the thing for me, Rudy, and you and I talked earlier.
Yeah.
I can see both sides, because now I'm putting on my general manager and my vice president hat. I want him healthy for the playoffs, because this might be the best opportunity. Even the year they won a few years ago, I think they have a better team now. And so I think they have a really good chance to win as long as Saquon Barkley is healthy. And the reason I say that is, say they play him, Rudy, but all the other starters, or majority of the other starters, don't play, right? Yeah. So now you got him running, but who do you have on the field with him? The backups.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a chance to get him hurt playing with guys that he's not familiar playing with all season? And then now he gets banged up, and then he can't give you everything he's got come to playoff time. So that's what I thought about. But on his side, I mean, this might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And people say it's all about team. It is. But it's just like myself, and we got to be straight. When I went into the UTSA Hall of Fame, who did I go in with? I went in by myself.
Yeah.
So that's my legacy. When I got my jersey retired, as you know, it's still myself and just Devin Brown.
Yeah.
So those two names, everybody go to UTSA in the sports department know Derek Gervin and Devin Brown. So whether we won championships or not, our legacy is still secure at UTSA. And so I can understand him wanting to break the record. And this is why, as far as Eric Dickerson, who was one of my top 5 running backs of all time, ED, please remember this. Records are made to be broken. O.J. Simpson, who was my favorite football player that ever lived, him and Lawrence Taylor, even over Barry Sanders. O.J. played 14 games to break the record, right? Who had the record, Rudy? Jim Brown. How many games did Jim Brown play? 12.
Mm-hmm.
So O.J. broke it in 14. Okay, so then Dickerson comes along and he breaks O.J.'s record. So if Saquon were to break the record, I don't care if it was 17 games. I told George Gervin, my big brother, who I talked to about an hour ago, Klay Thompson broke his 3-point record, his 1-quarter record with 37 points in the quarter. I don't care if it was 3-pointers or not. He still made 9 for 9 3-pointers, and he made 13 for 13 in the quarter. Yeah. So to me, he earned it. 37 points, even though he broke my brother's long-standing record. And I feel the same about Saquon. First, it takes durability to even break the record, right?
Yeah.
And Saquon has been consistent all season long. I think if you take him off that team, they're a team that goes 10-7 this year. So I know they have Jalen Hurts, but if you look at it right now, who's the spoon that stirs that drink? It's Saquon Barkley. So it's a tough one for me, but I can understand him wanting to get the record. And Rudy, if he really wants to, he can override the coach. If he really, really was that kind of guy and wants it that bad, he'll have the final say. Do you believe that?
I believe it. I really do. I mean, if he really wants to play, I believe he can play, and Sirianni really can't do
Give
much.
him a half, Rudy. It probably only take him a half, but on the other side again, I'm telling you, the Giants don't want him to break the record on them, right?
No, and I really truly feel, and it sucks to say this, it really does, but I think there's so much ill will that the intent to hurt.
They'll load the box up
there.
on him. See, that's the main thing I thought about that we didn't talk about earlier. I really believe they would load the box up on him to try to stop him from getting the record. And in doing so, even if he tweaked an ankle or something like that, that could hinder him and hinder the team come playoff time. And that's so, he'll decide. And Sirianni, if he trusts Sirianni, he trusts him more than I do. But, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, obviously, he's already planning on sitting. They're going to sit Saquon, get him ready for the playoff push. But,
Really, can I say this? And I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you really want to be honest, because I love the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, right?
Yeah.
And I know Lamar's had an outstanding year. Joe Burrow has had an outstanding year, if you're going by stats. But to me, honestly, if you just throw everything out the window and go just strictly on their merits, Saquon Barkley is the MVP this season for me.
You and I have talked a lot about MVP talk, and it's tough to not have him in there. It really is tough to not have him in there. I mean, you look at Josh, you look at Lamar putting it up, recently, you look at players like Sam Darnold. Jared Goff was hot, but he came down a lot, lately. That's more of a Montgomery and Gibbs type of offense right there. But, I mean, Saquon, top 4 at least.
They haven't put up Marino numbers. Are we talking about 4,000 something, almost 5,000 yards?
No.
So they're not. If you look at their stats, it's not in comparison to Saquon with the 2,000 yards.
No, it's not. It definitely is not. And that's the thing too, is that I think Saquon definitely he should get a lot of love. Where he falls in the MVP voting, I really truly think if he was to have played and broke the record, I mean, you're probably looking at the possibilities of him maybe being second. I don't know. And the thing is, it's kind of crazy because you talk about Josh Allen being MVP and you get a lot of pushback. People are saying that Lamar deserves MVP over Josh Allen. I don't think I'd be upset if either one won, but what the difference to me is, again, Josh Allen's team has the better record, and I feel Josh has done more with less compared to Lamar. I mean, James Cook is no Derrick Henry. No disrespect. He's no Derrick Henry. But Derrick made it a lot easier for Lamar, where Josh had it a little bit tougher.
And see where you are right now, that's why I say Saquon for me, okay? Because if you remember early in the season, I can go say the first half of the season.
Yeah.
Who was more headed towards being the MVP? Was it Derrick Henry or was it Saquon?
Derrick Henry.
Okay, so we were hearing Derrick Henry already in the MVP conversation early in the year, right?
Yes, sir.
So they say it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So Saquon came and eclipsed Derrick Henry. And we haven't seen this many breakaways out of the backfield in quite a while, Rudy.
Yeah, it's been a while.
He was getting a lot of highlights, man. It started off Derrick Henry early in the year, but it ended up Saquon. And so if you really, for me, I mean, if you go by what's the freshest in your mind, it's how you finish. And who had a better finish than Saquon Barkley?
Nobody really. I mean, Saquon's been on a tear.
Lamar's been up and down.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow's been up and down.
Yeah, and actually,
Mahomes
Joe
is not
hasn't
even
really.
in the conversation.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got
So,
Allen didn't start off great at the beginning of the year, Josh Allen.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden he came on, only got us the one that's been most consistent all season. And you even talked about it. If you take away the touch push, I don't even think we'd be having the conversation. That's another
No.
10 touchdowns for Saquon possibly.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I feel the coaching staff lost the MVP for Saquon Barkley with that whole tush push thing, especially the goal line. I mean, you've got the best running back, one of the best running backs in the league right now, and you're still using a tush push, which I get it. It's unstoppable, even though it has been stopped this year a couple times. It's, an unstoppable type move, but you brought in a guy like Saquon to take the load off of that where Jalen doesn't have to go through that. Do they not understand that when Jalen gets under the pile sometimes, that's a lot of big fat bodies on top of him? I mean, you're going to do damage to your quarterback. As you see, he has injuries every now and then. So you take that away from him and you give it to Saquon. If they give Saquon those goal line opportunities, I'm not even talking to you about who MVP is. The vote's already in. The trophy's already been engraved. It belongs to Saquon. I have no doubt about it. But because the Eagles kind of screwed Saquon on that, I really feel that because you screwed him on that, the opportunity to break the record should have been there. That's just my opinion on that.
Well, hasn't he had an Adrian Peterson type year?
Oh yeah, he really has.
Adrian Peterson is the last running back to win the MVP. I feel that he's had an Adrian Peterson type year.
He has. And for all we know, Saquon could get it. We don't know. I mean, we don't have any idea.
Shout out to JC and Locked On Spurs. Won't you guys think we're ignoring you? Happy New Year to you as well, to you and your family. Merry Christmas, JC, and to you and your family, and Happy New Year as well. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely Happy New Year and a very Merry Christmas, JC. JC, actually, I think JC might be out there this weekend in shirts if he's in town. So if he is, you'll probably catch Derek and I on Sunday. Hopefully we'll be out there Sunday more than anything. So I know he's been trying to get in contact with you. He's got a couple of Derek and rookie cards that I think he wants signed. So definitely if he catches us out there at the Shirts basketball show. So shout out to there and Locked On Spurs. Finally getting on here, fellas. It's been a long day. It's been a very long day. For sure. We got a question. Who's a clear projected Super Bowl winner? Is it Detroit? Now, Derek and I had Detroit as the Super Bowl winner beginning of the season, and it's looking good so far up until every time Derek and I blinked our eyes, Detroit got another injury. And they got injuries left and right, man. So the clear-cut Super Bowl winner, I'm going to say right now, it's still Detroit for me, vaguely, but it's still Detroit. Honestly, I don't know, man, because I like Buffalo, but if it's not Detroit,
continue to roll.
well, if it's not Detroit, I almost have to go with probably Philadelphia. I hate to say it, but I think the Eagles might be the third choice for me. I don't have a clear cut.
If it come down to Mahomes and Jalen Hurts and the big one, I would have to take Mahomes. But we have to see how this game goes on Sunday because the Lions are supposedly getting one of their linebackers coming back.
Oh, yeah, Alex
Hutchinson, though. So we'll see. Yeah. And then they still they haven't put Montgomery on the injured reserve, but as we know, he's out. So it's going to be hard, Rudy. And I told you, me being a Detroiter, native Detroiter, what I'm not happy about is what I'm seeing defensively.
Yeah,
we give up a lot of big plays in the passing game, and that bothers me. Even the game we won last week, 40-34.
Yeah,
we gave up a lot of yardage, and that kind of scares me when we talk about going to the playoffs because in the play, every play matters, and we do put up a lot of points. But I'm looking at the other side. If we were to be out of sync one game offensively, how do we keep it going? Because the defense has been struggling. So right now, I don't see a clear-cut favorite, but for me, it would be still. I got Buffalo up there. It's 4 teams between, of course. You got Buffalo, you got Detroit, you got the Eagles, and you got the Chiefs.
Yeah, and I gotta apologize, man. I've been bad mouthing the Chiefs all year, but the last couple of games, they've looked like the dominant team that they've been pretty much all year. So I think you're right. You're right on the top 4 going into the playoffs. Those are the 4 teams I would have circled, but I will say it's super hard to sleep on the Minnesota
Vikings. I know where you're going, sir. I told you, Sam Darnold. If Sam Darnold's not in the top 4 MVP voting, something's wrong. I don't care about they can talk about Lamar, which was great, Joe Burrow and all those guys. I'm kind of offended because they're talking about Joe Burrow, whose team is 8-8.
Yeah.
Over Sam Darnold. I'm not going for that. Stats or no stats. Sam Darnold has been a key cog in that team. And as we saw, they basically anointed him in the locker room. Did you see that?
Yeah.
When they picked him up on their shoulders.
Yep.
So that means the team believes in you, man. When he got in that locker room, they were all over Sam Darnold. So, yeah, I can't count the Vikings out. I'm hoping I can count them out this Sunday, but it's going to be tough, man. They've been rolling this year.
You know, it's crazy because just an off-topic talk when it comes to Sam Darnold, the talks are that Minnesota's might be shopping J.J. McCarthy, knowing that they want to keep Sam Darnold for the long term. It would be fair to shop J.J. McCarthy. And it's kind of cool because I'm actually going to get into more NFL talk here on the Sweep Unplugged episode, kind of off the Sweep the League TV thing, because not only that, you have the Jets where Aaron Rodgers is pretty much – the Jets have said they're not bringing him back. And then Devontae Adams, who we said before the trade, don't go to the Jets because there's no guarantee that Rodgers will be there after the season. What happens there? They're going to look to move on from Devontae Adams as well. So it goes back to this. Everybody – not everybody, but a lot of people said I was idiotic for saying this, but I said circle one team in the offseason, the New York Jets. Why? Because if I'm the Jets, I'm calling Jacksonville for Trevor Lawrence. I've got, what I need. I need a veteran quarterback. I don't have time to bring in another new quarterback that's a young guy. Give me an established guy. I think Trevor has kind of already, he's already done enough with everything he could do in Jacksonville. So I think a new start, a fresh start. He's still got some in the tank. Obviously, he's still young. That's where I'm feeling the Jets may need to make that move to contact them. Hey, we want to get Trevor. Or there's a $90 million guy in Atlanta that's just on the bench. I mean, they could make a move for Kirk. They don't have to pay him very much.
What about that guy in New England? Do you think they would give him up at this point in his career, or do they see stardom?
Drake May?
Yeah.
Oh no. Drake May has solidified his spot.
Stardom. Yeah, I see stardom.
I mean Penix May, obviously Caleb Williams, because they're not going to get rid of him. Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels, those 5 guys have pretty much solidified themselves as starters. Now, if you go to Indianapolis, the Colts, I think they don't believe in Anthony Richardson. So, I mean, they could possibly make a move for the Cousins. They could probably make a move for Cousins there. I mean, I have no idea. So, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different things.
Did you hear? Excuse me. Yeah, the young lady woke up and his phone got an emergency call. Rudy, did you know that some general managers have written Kirk Cousins off? They said he's hit the wall.
I believe so. I can understand that.
I'm trying to think of a backup that's out there. I'm not going to bring up Daniel Jones because we know he's gone to the Falcons, but for me it would be Trevor Lawrence. I still think we haven't seen the best of Trevor Lawrence yet. Kind of reminds me of Sam Darnold. Hasn't Darnold been in the league like 6 years now?
He has. 6
or 7 years. And I think the same. I think Trevor Lawrence is only going to get better, and so that would be a move that makes a lot of sense to me.
I think the Giants were a good pick, but right now the Giants and the Raiders are pretty much set on Shador and Cam Cam Ward.
Well, I think the Jets. I think Trevor Lawrence of the Jets sounds, and who might be his coach? Isn't Rex Ryan supposedly going to be interviewing with the Jets?
Yeah, Rex Ryan is, and actually they interviewed Louis Riddick for the GM job, which I'll be honest, Louis Riddick, I mean, that's a match made in heaven. That's a guy who can turn that team around in a matter of a year or two.
Does he really want that job, though? Because we've been hearing his name now for about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And so I just question. I think he likes what he's doing now on the networks and stuff. And sometimes you have your hand in 3 or 4 different things as opposed to just one.
Yeah.
And so, but if Lewis were to come out and decide he wants to be in the office somewhere, I think he would be a fantastic addition to any team in the NFL.
Yeah, I think so. I really do. And one last thing from Locked On, it says Mahomes being left the Pro Bowl roster. What do I think? To be real, Jeff, we've been saying this has been a horrible year for Patrick. He's not Pro Bowl caliber this year, so I have no arguments on that. I mean, Patrick Mahomes being left off,
and that's so hard to say, Rudy. Man, Jeff, on that one, I'm torn because even if he's had so-called off year to what we're used to from Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
But it's not just the defense that got them to 15-1. He's still the guy when you need a first down. He's might be 3rd and 16. Who's the guy that might use those legs, and when he looks over the field, and then he has to get downfield and give you a 25-yard run. That is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, for me, weird that he didn't make the Pro Bowl roster just because of his name alone. I want to say he doesn't deserve it, but then again, I got to say the guy's won 3 out of 4 championships. So
record-wise,
I think they could have found a spot for him.
Yeah, record-wise, he did deserve it. Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Rudy Campos Jr. We're getting ready to close out the show here. We got a couple minutes left. Real quick, let's go over this Jaden Ivey injury. I've got it right here. Let's take a look at it.
Jaden Ivey went for it. Blocked down from behind inadvertently by Cole Anthony, but Jaden Ivey's in a lot of pain.
Yeah, seeing the injury by Jaden Ivey, it's devastating. I mean, Detroit was in the play-in game right now. They were in this top 10 in the East, and I still really feel comfortable. When we first started talking NBA, started previewing, I remember I told you I think Detroit can make some noise this year. I really feel strong about him. I really, really do. Cade Cunningham's playing good. Ivy was having a really good season. But I think they could still make a move somewhere to stay within that top 10 to get into play-in contention, at least maybe even playoff contention. But a huge loss for Detroit with Jaden Ivey, man. It's just, and he came out on X and he said that, there was no ill intent. That was not a dirty play by Cole Anthony. It was a basketball move. He was going for the ball. He totally understands it. Shout out and prayers to Jaden Ivey, man.
Rudy, I want to send a shout-out prayer out to him as well because he's going to be missed. He's having an excellent season. He was averaging over 18 points a game. Him and Cade Cunningham seem to be clicking, and Malik Beasley.
Yeah.
But when I talked to you, I mentioned a player that they could possibly replace him with, and then I started thinking. I told you Moses Moody, right?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about it. And then I came up with another name. But the question is, would they trade him? You know who he is. This guy in Indianapolis.
Oh.
Ben.
I don't know if they'd get rid of him.
But what would you think about him being an addition? Would he be a great addition to the Pistons? Ben Mathurin.
Oh, man. Would it be wrong to say that I think that would probably make them better than what they were with Ivy?
Yeah, I think so.
Already good with Jaden Ivey, but if you add Benedict Mathurin,
the reason I say that is because my assistant coach is the coach there in Indianapolis, Rick Carlisle, And they're not turning Ben loose as far as letting him play. It kind of reminds me of how they were doing Cam Thomas with the Nets.
Yeah.
Now they're letting him turn him loose somewhat, and then they pull him back again. They reel him back in. So now you got Cam Johnson and those guys are stepping up. They just brought in D'Angelo Russell. So I go to Indianapolis. They're not using Ben Mathurin to be the player that he could be. They're not letting him. Rick is not letting him be the guy that he could be. And it's not like anyone is fearing the Pacers. The Pacers have regressed, kind of like the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
We're not hearing about them. We watched them yesterday. I mean, last season they were scoring 140 points, and Tyrese Halliburton was playing on another level. This year he's tapered off. The team is tapered off. They haven't been the same team. And so I don't understand why they're holding on to Ben Mathurin if you're not going to play him. I think he has all-star potential, and I got to be honest. I would love to see him in the backcourt right now with Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, you got to free Ben Mathurin big times. The kid is just way too talented, and I have no idea why Indiana doesn't use him. But goes to show, man, I didn't believe in the Pacers last year. I didn't believe in Halliburton's year last year. I said, I think you got to do it 2 years in a row. It's been a struggle for them. I don't know, man. Just I'm the type of guy where you got to do it more than one season to kind of convince me on
He's
stuff.
too busy worried about hanging out, being in pictures with Caitlin Clark instead of focusing on his game, man. And it bothers me. Miles Turner is still there, of course, Texas Longhorn. But to me, it's kind of like I don't think Siakam meshes with the team either. It's kind of like DeRozan in Sacramento. When they brought in Siakam, it doesn't seem like it's fitting well, and they're not turning Mathurin loose. They've got T.J. McConnell. They got some guys, but I think Ben Mathurin, if you're not going to use him, and let him go somewhere else, and I would hope that other place would be the Detroit Pistons.
Man, that would be a crazy move, because if you keep Mathurin, obviously with Cade Cunningham, and then you get a healthy Jaden Ivey back, that spells doom.
You got Malik Beasley, who's playing the best he's played in his career.
Yeah, holy cow. On that note, we're going to have to talk more about it tomorrow. We didn't get to our Steph point guard talk. We'll save that for tomorrow here on Sweep the League, as we're going to talk about the PFT rankings for NFL. The final Week 18 rankings are out. Who's going to be number one? Who's going to be at the bottom of the list? Also, we'll talk more CFP tomorrow. We'll get into some NBA talk. We'll talk about Steph Curry, because not only is he not a point guard, in our opinion, Derek, there's a lot of people, including myself, who feels he's not even generational. He's not a generational talent. And we're going to explain all that tomorrow when we come back for some more Sweep the League. So for Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Rudy Campos Jr., until we sweep the league again tomorrow, we will see all you knuckleheads later.
Happy New Year, everybody. Stay safe.
Exclusive interviews with Rudy and the crew. Let's go.
Man, he ain't done yet. This guy is from out of this world. He's gotta be an alien. What is going on? Oh my goodness, this guy is really gonna be special. Ain't nothing to it. When we still lit. When we still lit. When we still lit. Lit. We got dreams, hit the fast lane. Took the stairs, real pain, no fear. We steady making it clear. I'm the captain, nice to meet you, but I make chess moves, no snooze. Bless you, we turning the impossible to possible. Doing what we do, call me Wemby, alien, flow too quick. You can't see me, just saying. The only thing lit is your season. Come see me, trust me, we too lit. You